Hi, teacher. We are going to explain the different units of about top-notch 3. The first unit is small conversation. For introduce this topic, we are going to present a small conversation. Good morning, beautiful day, isn't it?
It's really is. By the way, I am Melissa Quiroz.
I'm Shirley Nikinga. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Do you mind if I call you Ellie?
Absolutely not. Please do.
And please call me Shir. Okay.
Okay.
In this chart on the right, we can see other forms to asking about property address. For example, do you mind if I call you? Good, it be rude to call you? What would you like to be called? How do you prefer to be addressed? Do you use Miss or Misters? The first topic in this unit is tag question, use and form. Okay, use tag questions to confirm information you already think is true or encourage someone to make a small talk with you. Okay, in the chart on the left, we can see the grammar of the question. When the sentence is positive, the tag question is negative. And when the sentence is negative, the tag question is positive. For example, she is an American, isn't she? She is an American, is she? You study English, don't you? You don't study English, do you? There are other examples in this chart. Okay. Exception informing question tags. A special case, tag question. With the sentence have an I. For example, I'm intelligent, aren't I? Other cases with an imperative, the tag question is would you for invitation, can you, will you, would you for others. For example, open the windows, will you? Other case is with less, the tag question is shall we? For example, let's go home, shall we? Other is after a statement containing negative words, never, nothing, or hardly, we normally use a positive tag question. For instance, we have never seen that, have we? In this chart, we can see other examples and other special case. And for me, that is the most important case. Intonation, rising and falling. Rising intonation usually indicates that the speaker is confirming the correctness of information. For example, people use first names here, don't they? Or falling intonation usually indicates that the speaker speaks the listener to agree. For example, people use first names here, don't they? And the second topic in this unit is the past perfect statement. And the same way, for introduce the topic, we are going to present a small talk. Okay, how was your day?
Unbelievable busy. By 9, I had taken the placement test, registered for the class, and bought some books.
That's a lot to do before 9 o'clock.
That was nothing. At 10, I had a meeting across town, but by 1, I had already arrived back at the school for my class.
What did you do for lunch, about lunch?
Well, when I go to class, I hadn't eaten yet, so I just got a snack.
Wow, I'll be you're pretty hungry now.
Yes.
Okay. Use past perfect to describe an action that occurred before a specific time in the past. The form, the past perfect with had plus verb in past participle. For example, the meeting had ended before we arrived. Time markers by, already, and yet are often used in the past perfect. For example, by 4 o'clock, the tour had begun. They had already eaten when their friends called. Also, use that question in past time, in simple past tense, or the past to be clarified without two past action occur first. For instance, the meeting had begun late, so we didn't have lunch until 2 o'clock. First, the meeting began, then we had lunch. Another example is by the time the tour was over and had already met. Finally, in this unit, we can find vocabulary. For example, etiquette, cultural literacy, table manner, punctuality, impolite, offensive, customary, and taboo. Etiquette is a rule for polite behavior in a society or in a particular group. Cultural literacy is knowing about and respecting the culture of others. Table manner, rules for polite behavior. And that's all. Okay, punctuality is the habit that brings of the time. Impolite is not impolite or rude. And okay, the next.
Okay, in this top-notch book, we have a unit 2. In unit 2, we talk about hidden matters. The goal of this unit are show concern and offer help, make a medical or dental appointment, discuss type of treatment, talk about the medication. So, in lesson 1, we have some vocabulary about describing symptoms. For example, I feel dizzy, I feel nauseous, I feel weak, I short of breath, I've been vomiting, I've been coughing, I've been sneezing, I've been wheezing. I have pain in my chest, I have pain in my hip, I have pain in my ribs, and I have pain in my stomach. Also, in this lesson, we have a grammar, talk about drawing conclusion with a mass. Use the model mass, place the base form of the verb to draw a conclusion and indicate that you think something is probably true. For example, I think I just broke my foot. Oh no, that's much hard. So in this lesson 1, we have to use this vocabulary and this grammar to make a conversation or describing a symptoms. So in lesson 2, about we have a grammar will be able to models in may and might. We'll be able to base from talk about future abilities. And you can use be able to meet with may and might for possibility or with must for drawing conclusion. For example, the doctor may be able to see you tomorrow. Also in this part, we have a lot of vocabulary also. This vocabulary is about medical procedures. For example, a checkup, an examination, a shot, an injection, an AKG, an electrocardiogram, an X-ray, and blood test. In this lesson 2, we have to use this vocabulary for do a conversation or make a medical appointment or make a dental appointment. In other hand, we have the lesson 3. In lesson 3 of unit 2, we have a type of treatments. In this part, we have articles, maybe this type of articles, I consider that is very important to learn in this unit because with this information, the teacher can do different activities with his or her students. For example, the students talk about different type of treatments, such as conventional medicine, homeopathy, acupuncture, herbal therapy, spiritual healing. And the students can participate and share their ideas with the teacher and their classmates. Finally, we have a lesson 4. In this lesson, we have some vocabularies about medication. So, a painkiller, cool tables, a nasal spray, the decongestant, a drop, an antihistamine, cold medicine, an antibiotic, an antihistamine, and an ointment, and vitamins. So we can use this vocabulary for talk about medication, and also finally of this unit 2, we have a review. This part is important because this has a lot of activities such as conversation models or listen compression or grammatical context. I think that this type of exercises are very important to students because in this part the students have to do applying or using all the new vocabulary and all the new grammars that they learn in all these units. And also this unit of Top-Notch Book 3 has some activities that help the students to improve their knowledge, improve their academic system in English, or is important, and is important because this helps to develop our learning process. Thank you.
Okay, hi teacher. Well, I wanna present unit 3. Okay, introduce the unit 3. Getting things done. What is a procrastinator? Procrastinating means postponing or deferring tasks, duties, and responsibilities for other activities that are more ratifying to use but are irrelevant. Synonym of procrastinator is postpone. Are you a procrastinator? Yes, sometimes I am a procrastinator person because I postpone my homework to see some series or like to sleep when I have to clean the house. So lesson 1, grammar, the causative. Use the causative to express the idea that one person pursues or causes another person to do something. Structure. Use subject plus get plus object and plus infinity. For example, I'll get the waiter to decorate the check. Or other example is, they got him to pay for dinner. Lesson 2. The passive causative focus on the object rather than the subject of the sentence. Structure. Subject plus have or let or make plus object plus past participle and plus by someone. For example, the man had his car fixed for the mechanic. Then lesson 3. What are the best way for a business to keep its customer coming back? Well, customers don't really buy service and product. They buy solution and relationships. Here's how to keep them coming back. Okay, number 1, don't procrastinate. Also, be reliable. Um, Stand by your product and service. Be extremely friendly and courteous, as well a good listener. Always try to be helpful. And finally, lesson 4, vocabulary. Planning and running an event. Send out the announcement, set up the room, set up the projector, put up the sign, check out the sound system, a microphone, a mic, a handle, a late mic, hand out the agenda, hand out, introduce the speaker, introduce the guest. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, unit 4. In this unit, we have a reading for pleasure. And in the preview, we have fiction and non-fiction literature. In the fiction, novel, mysteries, thrillers, romance, science fiction, and short stories. And the non-fiction, biographies, autobiographies, travel, memories, and self-help. In the lesson 1, we have noun classes. A noun clause function as a noun, often as a direct object. A noun clause can be introduced by that. For example, I didn't know that he wrote this book. When a noun clause functions as a direct object, that may be omitted, especially in speaking. I didn't know he wrote this book. Okay, in the lesson 2, we have embedded a question. An embedded question is a question that is included inside another question or statement. They are common after introduce a phrase such as I wonder, could you tell me, or do you know? For example, is that magazine interesting? Tell me if that magazine is interesting. Use a question word to begin embedded information questions. For example, what is the article about? An embedded question is, I can't remember what the article is about. In the lesson 3, we have some vocabulary for reading for pleasure. For example, curly up with a book, read aloud to someone, listen to audiobooks, do puzzles, read articles online, skim through a newspaper, read ebooks, or read electronic books. Then the lesson 4 is just exercise that we have to do for the whole unit. To finish it, we have vocabulary. For example, it's a page turner. It's so interesting that you want to keep reading it. It's a cliffhanger. It's so exciting that you can't wait to find out what happened next. It's a bestseller, it's very popular, and everyone is buying copies. It's a fast read, it's easy and enjoyable to read. It's a hard to follow, it is difficult to understand. It's a trade, it is very poor quality. So I hope you like it, and thank you.
Hello, teacher. My name is Merida, and today going to take about Unit 5. This unit is about natural disaster. The communication goals about this unit are convey a message, tell one about the new, describe natural disaster, and prepare for an emergency. Um, In lesson 1, we can find grammatical points about indirect speech imperatives. It said, use quoting in the indirect use sorry use quoting for in indirect speech to report what someone said without the exact word, but don't use quotation mark when you are who are repetition this message in your words. Also, there is a section to control the pronunciation, correct rhythm to pronunciation, in a section for model conversation about conveying message. In the lesson 2, we can find vocabulary. The vocabulary is important when we want to describe the types of the disaster that we could that it could occur, such as tornado, landslide, hurricane, flood, or through. In grammatical points, use the tell or say. It said use tell when you mention the listener, and you don't and you use the said when when don't when don't mention the listener. And we can find a section of the model conversation about the news. In the lesson 3, we can find the vocabulary, such as for describe an earthquake. In this section, there are an adjective of severity to describe an earthquake. This, this is mild, moderate, severe, detailed, and catastrophic. In the lesson 4, we can find vocabulary about the emergency preparing to in supplies, such as evacuate, power outage, shelter, first aid kit, flashlight, and non-perishable food. Finally, there are the oral review. In this section, we can practice all points, all phrase, all vocabulary that we can learn in this unit. Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. That's all.
That's all, teacher. Thanks.